Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Hope you're having a great morning. Gonna look at a few coins this morning. If I can get this thing open. I was able to get pennies yesterday. I ended up getting 4 boxes of pennies. Which was kind of a lot. They taped the ends of all of them. Some of them have X's on them too, so that was kind of interesting. How to get these open when they got the tape on them. All right, that's what we're looking at. Well, it's got an X on it, so I'm kind of interested to see if we find any copper in there. If we find copper, that's a good sign. Right off the bat, we got a copper. Perfect. 81. That's perfect. So, if they're leaving copper in here, they're probably leaving some other stuff behind too. 1983. See if we got the double die reverse. Nope. But we are going to weigh this one. I don't see much zinc coming through, if any. So let's weigh it and see what we get. 2.54 grams. So it is definitely a zinc. Yeah, 1982. Looks like zinc coming through right there. Looks like a hole. And it looks like some zinc coming through there. Let's weigh it and see what we get. No, it is 3.06 grams. This is a copper. So that must just be dirt or something on it. 1982. Sweet. More copper. All right, my 1982 is getting full. I have not found any that I know of. I have 2019s. And if I did have any, they would be in this box. But I do believe if I found a West Point, I would put it in a flip so that it wasn't exposed to the air. So I don't believe I found any. You are obviously a coin collector if you're looking for the 2019 West Points. Once I fill up a drawer of copper, I usually put them in these little brown Ziplocs I bought. And as of right now, because we're in crunch time with copper, I am not sorting through my copper yet. I'm going to wait till it's hard to find pennies, and then I'll go back and sort through all my copper. I just dropped one. So these are all 1982s. And let me see what I got here. Get a few more in there. All right. I'll Ziploc that up. Put my 1982s back. Let me get the one on the flow. $1982, and then I'm gonna do another drawer here. So this has got a bag of, if you can read it, 68s in it. And I am going to put another, let's see what I got here. All right. Piece of tape. Put that on there. Get my pen out. And this is going to be 1982. Yeah, I save it for the future. I do melt it down, and I do purify copper myself. So, yes, I understand what you're saying. I do electrolysis to extract pure copper. And I could show you that, but yeah, I purify my own copper. But the pennies, I'm not melting them down yet until it's legal. But I do save, like these are all scrap pennies that I save that are too damaged to be worth anything. And I will, in the future, melt them down. But yeah, I melt copper bars. I think I have a copper skull here. Yeah, this is one of my copper bars. This thing weighs over 6 pounds. But if you try to buy copper on eBay, you can't get copper. It's hard to find copper for less than $10 a pound. 1988 double ear, flared FG. So I do save all my copper, and I do melt down wire and pipe and whatever I can find. A lot of times I get my copper for almost free. The there's a lot of people throw appliances away and other stuff, and I'll take all the wire out and strip it down. But I have quite a bit of copper. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I would imagine they're going to go back and do that to the like the dumps where people dump all their garbage. If they could go back and just recycle that material and get all the different metals out, there's probably quite a bit of gold and silver and everything in the dumps. The nice thing about getting a copper penny is, if you consider copper being worth $10 a pound, and when I purify well, when I melt copper down, I usually take off the slag off the top, which purifies it just a little bit. And once you get the slag off, it's more pure. But then um, some of it, I go ahead and purify it all the way down to, 99% pure copper. And then I save that. But how you doing, Robert Thompson? Well, that's interesting. It would be interesting if it's aluminum. It might just be a thin planchet. So, um, I forget what year there were some years of quarters. The I think it was 71, I think, but the material that they used to press the quarter was really thin, so they were like a gram and a half short, and it could just be a thin planchet. But if it was aluminum, it would be so light that it would feel like air. If it was aluminum, it wouldn't weigh 4 grams. It would weigh half of that. So my thought is it's a thin planchet. Yeah, there's a guy in Indiana with a mechanical sorter, and he dumps pennies in the mechanical sorter. I was looking at buying one myself, but they were a little pricey. And you can dump in the hopper a bunch of pennies, and on one side it spits out the copper ones, the other side it spits out the zinc ones. And that would be a quick way to sort through a lot of pennies real quick to get the copper out. But I want to look at the pennies anyway, so it's like I would probably do it if it wasn't so pricey. 1997. That's kind of weird on the back of his neck there. Right there, that, whatever that is. '97 also has a double ear. But I think I'm going to keep that one. 97. I'm not sure what that was. '85D. I'm going to weigh this one to make sure. It's supposed to be a zinc. 2.53 grams. So that's definitely a zinc. $2,000. Well, this is one of my stashes of Canadians. I'd have to look through them. I don't know shit about Canadian pennies. So every time I find one, I put it in the bag. Yeah. Yeah, you got a 74 aluminum. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing live videos. I'd just be retired. Yeah, I think they only gave them out to Congress people to, they were trying to figure out a cheaper way to make pennies, and they were thinking about making them out of aluminum. Until you hold one, you could probably bend it with your fingers too. 98, looking for the wide AM. Nope. Yeah, or 1958 double die. You know, there's several pennies that if you find one, you're good. Oh, I don't know about the 45s. 68s have two double die reverses, I believe. 19. Those are my quarters. Yeah, I don't study the coppers. I don't write them down. But I think the 68 have two double dies. But they already do make counterfeit pennies. They make counterfeit Morgan silver dollars. They make counterfeit everything. They already do. And they make a lot of counterfeit, like 1955 double dies, which is kind of famous. They make uh, they make counterfeits of those. You really got to be careful what you're buying on eBay. because some of those are counterfeit. Yeah, I would do that. I would take it to a coin shop and see what they think. Matter of fact, I went to a coin show last week, and I took some coins in that I thought were silver and had them tested on a Sigma, and the Sigma said they were not silver. So the only thing I can think of is the two quarters that I have. They're missing the copper layer in the middle. Yes, it would be the Holy Grail. There's a lot of really unique pennies out there that are worth a lot of money. It's just they're hard to find. How was the weight on what? 87 D over D. I don't think so. Looks damaged. Oh, the weight on it? It weighed normal. Yeah, my quarters weighed normal. But silver and the um, copper alloy ones, they weigh the same. So within a few grams. So if you have a silver quarter and you have a copper clad quarter, they're very similar in weight. Oh, you're talking the Canadian dollars. I also do metal detecting, so anything metal I can find. I find a lot of stuff that's so small you can barely see it. Yeah, I haven't really studied Canadian money. I just, whenever I find it, I keep it. And I figure someday I'll go back and look through all of it and see what it is. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, when I go to a coin show, I take a magnet with me if I'm gonna possibly. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, when I go to a coin show to buy stuff, I take a magnet. 1998D, White AM. $2,000D. I'm going to look for the white AM, but I don't think any have been found. Hold on. All right. I had to take a phone call there. I wasn't sure who that was. 2012. Ooh. Yeah, I don't do coin machines. Yep, nope. They're getting all the steel pennies out too. This thing's rough. I probably could weigh it and see if it's a copper or zinc. Yeah, I don't do anything in the Coinstar. I roll all my coins up and take them back to the bank after I've looked at them. And I went to several banks yesterday, and they would not give me any pennies, and that was kind of unusual. 1982D. I'm going to have to weigh this, make sure it's a copper. 3.12 grams. It is definitely copper. Yeah, when I do the math on copper pennies, if you consider when it's in a hand poured copper bar, they're worth about $10 a pound. And that makes every copper penny worth about 6.5 cents. So that's mainly why I keep all my copper. And you can get it for a penny. You just 6 times your money on every copper penny. But like I said, when I get the slag off of the top of the copper, and I use a stainless steel cooking spoon to do it with a 3-foot handle, the copper over a couple burns will stick to the spoon. And so I put the spoon in and do electrolysis to remove the copper from the spoon and then get the pure copper off of it. Yeah, I mean, but the problem is, you know, it's really hard. Like if you're going to look at it with a loop or something like that, it's really hard. You have to have a digital microscope to go through volumes of coins. Otherwise, it's just way too difficult, at least in my experience. There's no way I could go through the coins I go through if I was looking through a magnifying glass. Oh, for sure it would work. Yeah, for sure it would work. Yep. I'm usually melting down wire, not trying to make it. I don't know. I have not, but I've watched some videos on it. I have some plated silver. I have plated gold too. So that would be kind of interesting to kind of goof around with that. But the one video I watched, the amount of silver they got out of it was so small that it exceeded the price of actually doing it. But I mean that all in all doesn't scare me just if I learn how to do it anyway. The price of silver may go up so high that it makes it worth it. Same with gold. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about zinc in the wires. I know they try to get wire as pure as possible because it conducts better when it's more pure. – 1998, we're looking for a close AM. Let's see what we got here. Definitely not. Yeah, it's just crazy expensive. You know, to make an extension cord, you'd need a couple pounds of silver. And that would just be like the most expensive extension cord ever. 1998. See if we got the white AM. Yeah. The 92 close AMs, those are pretty darn valuable. I think the 92Ds are even more valuable, I think. Yeah, I've seen aluminum wire. I've never messed with it. I think it's an alloy, aluminum alloy. I do collect aluminum too. That's another one of my stupid hobbies. And I literally get my aluminum for free. So everybody that knows that I collect aluminum cans, and then everybody brings me bags of cans. I have thousands and thousands of cans that I save, and then I melt them down. And yeah, the aluminum stuff is easy because it's like I get it for free. And it's oh yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of it. And aluminum's nice because it melts at a much lower melting point than copper does, so it's easier to get it hot and work with and then pour it into bars. But the other side of cans is there's an absolute ton of slag. So plastics and other metals and other crap that goes into it, there's a ton of that. So I usually, when you melt down cans, you melt down a bunch and you're removing quite a bit of slag. I got a plastic garbage can that's full to the top of just slag off of cans. And there's some aluminum still stuck in there, so I haven't thrown it away yet, but I might try to melt it down in the future and remove whatever else aluminum I can get out of it. But it's a lot of slag. Um, no, not too many. And I'm not saving them either. I probably will now because when they stop making them halfway through the year, it's like the lowest mintage of pennies ever. So I probably will start saving 2025s. And I'm looking for the ones with the Omega symbol on them. There's supposed to be a few hundred of them out there. this person taped up every end of these pennies. It's hard to get them open. All right, here we go. On the front of the coin, there's an omega symbol. They call it a privy mark, but it's an omega symbol. And they mixed them in. I think it was like the last 200 coins. They mixed them in with all the other coins. And if you can find one, they are extremely valuable. And you can look that up, the omega symbol. $1987. I don't see any zinc coming through, so I'm going to weigh this one. I'll show you guys how I do this. So, 2.49 grams. So that is definitely a zinc penny. Yeah, there's some YouTube videos on it, but the Omega coins, man, holy crap. If you can find one of those. I can't remember if they said 200 or surely not 200,000, but I know there's not many of them. $1993. Yep, they're definitely worth looking for. It's in the omega symbol would be right under Liberty, so it's like right here on the coin. Yeah, I see 2025 nickels. The 2024s are the ones you want. 2024s were the lowest mintage that we know of for, I don't know. I don't know if it's been 100 years since we've had this low a mintage of nickels, but 2024s, I save all 2024 nickels. I'm not sure how big the screen is. You know, I can zoom out and show you kind of. It's much bigger than I can get on my screen or, you know, on the screen for the live. So it's just like a computer monitor. And then so when I zoom in, it everybody else only sees a portion of what I'm actually seeing. Yeah, that's the black surface. Yeah. And then I use these it's actually a jeweler's polishing rag. And I use these. These seem to be the best. To throw the coin on there so I don't have to touch the coin. I can move it around without having my hand underneath there. Yeah. Yeah, I know they're valuable because there's not very many of them. 1982, that looks kind of weird. See if it's a copper. 3.12 grams. It is definitely copper. I'm hoping I can get a box of pennies looked at and start trading them one for one at the bank so I can still get new inventory of pennies to look at without, because if they're not going to give any pennies away, they might do one for one trades. So a box for a box. Oh, I know. When I started doing this, you know, what I would be doing in my spare time, would be staring at my phone or watching TV or just other stupid stuff that has literally no value. And then I started looking at coins, and so I set a whole room up in my house. I have an extra bedroom that I set up just for coins. Yeah. So I have a room. My wife calls it we call it the numismatic room. But it's where I look at I have two desks in here. I got two microscopes, but I keep all my coins and try to organize all my stuff in here. Yeah, I think that's part of the problem too. People are hoarding pennies. But there's no way we're running out of pennies because, other than this year, they make, I don't know, 3 to 4 billion every year at each mint. So there's no way we're running out of pennies. There's just no, we literally just stopped making them a month ago. So there's no way we're running out. So if you say the last 5 years, just in Philadelphia, say they made 3 billion in the last 4 years, that's there's just no way. Yeah, me either. Yeah, I save a lot, but that's still not. There's no way. You're talking. There's probably a trillion pennies out there. There's just no way. Everybody would have to own millions of pennies. Yeah, I don't keep my zincs. It's going to be interesting to see what the how the hobby does um, once pennies become much harder to get. And I would expect that's probably going to take years. I mean, well, they stopped making Canadian pennies in what, 2012? And you can still find Canadian pennies in circulation to this day in the United States. So I don't think we're in any way, shape, or form going to run out of pennies. 1914s, they're in really bad condition, yeah. If I do have any. I have a coin book. I could look. Um, Let me look. I have a coin book, my my fullest coin book. And I'm not sure if I have a 1914. Uh, I have a 1914 and a 1914S, but this coin looks cleaned. Yeah, this is the best book I got. And I do have like the 1909S or 1909 VDB. I don't have the VDBS. 1909. I am missing a few. 22D. That's a hard one. Yeah, my 1914, it looks cleaned. So that kind of sucks. Yeah, I think with the coin collecting, it's just trying to figure out what you're looking for and then trying to organize all the stuff that you have. Yeah. Well, if they're cleaned, you might as well not have it at all because the clean ones just aren't. 2016, a little different there, maybe. I was hoping to see a guy named Thomas Henning on here. He's a friend of the channel, and he recently bought a 1922 No D penny. I kind of was interested to see if he's gotten it. I do not put anything on mine. And the one thing I do is if I find a coin that I want to preserve, I'll put it in a flip and then I'll put it in another flip. So anything you can do. So like this is a quarter that I wanted to save. I put it in a flip and then I put it in this plastic flip to keep as much air off of it as possible. But the other thing too is to put them in airtight containers. So if you can get plastic containers that are airtight or glass jars, anything that's airtight, you want to try to keep any extra air off of them. And so, but putting chemicals on them at all is pretty much, I wouldn't risk that, especially if I think it could be valuable in the future. So, airtight containers is your best bet. And keep them out of the light, obviously. Copper pennies, you put them in the sun and they will turn brown really quick. Yeah, I know. I've found a few pennies that have been lacquered where they put, I don't know what they put on them to get them to stay red, but it was like lacquer and you could see it. The other way to preserve, um, I do soak my coins. I have a special chemical for soaking, but it's basically just kerosene. So I put it I have a coin in there now. It's a nickel. It had a bunch of stuff on it. And I wanted to see if I could get some of the stuff off of it. And it looks like it's coming off. But it's just kerosene. But it's if you get on my main channel, I put a link to it. It's called Conserve. And you can soak your coins in it. So if they have like, I don't know, food or pop or something stuck on the coin, this stuff will dissolve it and it doesn't damage the coin. But I also use isopropyl alcohol too. I use a lot of isopropyl alcohol. You can soak your coins in that. I wouldn't be doing that. Salt and vinegar, it goofs them up. It changes the color of them and then they don't grade right. So that eats the top layer of copper off of them. And I've done it. That's how I know. But yeah, salt and vinegar and the aluminum foil in there, and also baking soda. All of that stuff pretty much destroys the coin. Yes, it does look nice on silver. And the problem too is like if you have a little bit of a toned silver coin and then you dunk it, um, and it has any wear on it, it will get graded as improper color. So the toning is actually good on on a silver coin for sure. Yeah, my wife did a coin, and it was a worn out silver quarter, and I mean it shined up like, I mean it looked like a brand new quarter, but it had wear on it, And I took it to a coin shop just to ask the guy what he thought of it. And he said, "Oh, this has been cleaned." And so, um, if you have a cleaned coin, they're not worth as much. So I would not mess with trying to make them look better. The When they grade them, they don't. If it gets graded as a clean coin, they're not worth hardly anything anymore. Oh, I would not clean them. I would not. I would leave them all black. I would leave them black. Yep. I don't have any that are all black, but if I did have, I would leave them that way. That's just my opinion. And the only reason is if you ever wanted to have them graded, they're probably going to come back as being cleaned. And then that kind of sucks. Especially if you had one with a really rare VAM variety on it. Man, that would be terrible. Two 2019. I don't think I've found any of the 2019 West Points. I'm pretty sure I would remember if I did. I found a few of the West Point quarters, but not the West Point penny. 1982. I'm going to have to weigh this one, see if it's copper. It looks like it could be zinc. Yeah, 2.5 grams. Oh, thank you so much, Robert. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I enjoy talking to everybody about coins. Thanks a lot for coming by. You have a wonderful evening. Yeah, the conserve cleaner stuff. I put a link in my main channel that if anybody was interested in buying it, they could get it off of Amazon. And it's an affiliate link. I try to put affiliate links for all the stuff that I use in my main channel. So if anybody was interested in seeing what I got, they could get on Amazon. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, yeah, I do collect paper money also. Yep. I buy it and sell it and collect it and everything in between that. $95D looks pretty rough. $2004, we got a shot at the double die reverse, which is on E pluribus unum. It's kind of a rare coin. Well, if we had it, these would almost be touching, and that would almost be touching. I don't see it on this one. $1887, and you can see the crack in it right there. That crack all the way along there is the copper cracking off of the zinc. Yeah, I'm not even going to weigh this one. Pretty goofy, weak strike, too. $19.90. It's kind of a weird looking crack right there in the plating. $19.96. Looks like it's definitely a zinc. 96D. Yeah, I got a few more here. 84D. Could be a double die in God. I do not see it. And looking at it, it's probably a zinc, but I don't see any of the zinc coming through. Okay. Right there, you can see the zinc coming through. That dark spot coming through that pillar. So it's definitely a zinc. All right, let's see what we got. 2004, we got a shot at the double die on E pluribus unum. Good thing we don't have it because this coin is trashed. Scratches everywhere on it. Oh, I need to get my morning started. 1995D. Yeah, yesterday I got 10,000 pennies from the bank, which is kind of exciting. I told my wife I got 4 boxes. She goes, "That's a lot." And I go, "Yeah, it's like 10,000 pennies." All right, I got 2 more to look at here, and then I'm going to take a break. All right, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate everybody chatting with me. I need to get moving. So, I hope everybody that stopped by has a blessed day, and I will do this again hopefully this evening, if not tomorrow morning. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.